Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So we don't have a PowerPoint?
We do have the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Yep, we've got your PowerPoint. We've got everything, I think, for you ready to go. Your background
you.
slipped around the right way. Hopefully we're good. And we're gonna
I
get
am
started here.
so sorry about this, but it's the other option is to expose you guys to COVID. So I apologize.
No worries. We're just glad that you're feeling good and are able to still join us. So thanks for doing it.
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna get our meeting started here. So Jayne, it'll be just a couple minutes before we'll have you introduce
Sure.
yourself. We've got some announcements and some things to do first.
Okay, thank you.
Click that off.
Oh, can you go click on the got it? Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Carrie, would you please come up? Everyone can be seated, please. Hello. Shannon Sander Weltstein was named for invocation today, and she invited me to take her place. Hi, everybody online. Accept our thanks for this day and all its blessings. Guide and direct our Rotary Club, its leaders, and our actions. Grant that each of us may feel our responsibility to Rotary, our community, and our country. Let us continue to strive to make the world a better place, and may we be ever mindful of the needs of others. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Carrie. So couple announcements. First, Dave, do you want to announce? You want me to announce?
I'm going to start the clipboard around for showboat tickets. On July 15th, we'll be going to see State Fair, and there will be a party beforehand under the candlelight like we did last year with food and beverages. So I'll start the clipboard around. Now, if you have a season pass and you want to use it for this show, mark it here in the column indicated. That way you'll use your pass for a ticket. We won't have to buy a ticket for you. The showboat has gotten off to a good start. Sister Act was a sellout for most of the shows the second week. I do have something to pass on though. I think how many of you saw Sister Act? What'd you think of the lead, the young lady that was the lead?
Very good.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yes.
She was great.
The young girl that played the lead goes to Baldwin Wallace College, and she turns 20 this week. And next month she's going to have surgery on her vocal cords. So, and that's a very delicate surgery, about a 75% chance of full recovery. So this is a cautionary announcement for you folks. If you have a daughter or a granddaughter or a grandson for that matter, or son, that's really a good singer and wants to pursue it in high school or college, make sure that they have a good, well-trained vocal coach or choir leader. This young lady has been singing since she was very young, but she's used her voice in the wrong way. And she has suffered damage to her vocal cords. So this was probably the last show she'll do. Obviously, it'll be the last show she does this year. But we have to hope and pray that she'll come out of this. She probably shouldn't have signed this contract and done the show, but she did. Next show is starts Thursday night. Calendar Girls. Some of you here were disappointed when you heard what that show was about because it had already been cast. You could not audition for this show. For those of you that don't know what it's about, it's some ladies in England, middle age, advanced middle age, or almost senior citizens pose nude for a calendar to raise money. So it should be an interesting show. I'll start this around. Thank you.
Thank you. I will just say, Judge, if we could get that to our Thursday evening group as well, so that they can sign up, that would be wonderful.
I'll do it.
Thank you. And so make sure that you do get signed up for the showboat night. We do like to have an idea of who's going to be there ahead of time, so we get the right amount of appetizers sent over to the candlelight. So and join us, please. A good social event. And then also keep in mind that August 1st is going to be the Rotary night at the Lumber Kings. August 3rd, just 2 days later, is actually going to be the library and home run readers night at the ballpark. So probably in a week or two, we'll have some people sign up to hopefully help volunteer at that and pass out some of the prizes that night. So I know that's 2 Lumber Kings games in a week, but just keep that in the back of your mind. We do still need somebody to volunteer to do programs for June of 2023. All of the rest of them for this coming year, program chairs are filled. So if you would like to volunteer to fill programs a year from now, let myself, or probably better, let Doug Bertrand know about that. Then I told you guys, and I was really quiet about polio for a very long time during my term as president. Unfortunately, I don't get to be quiet about that anymore because there have been another 3 cases reported this week in Pakistan. So they had 3 year to date. They had another 3 just now, and there were only a total of 3 cases worldwide last year. So Pakistan is now up to 6. Pakistan only had 1 last year, and Afghanistan actually had 2. Afghanistan still only has 1 this year, but Pakistan now has 6. So they have really increased. And I know we had talked about with COVID that there, could end up being some kind of fallback from not being able to get everywhere. And I think we are really seeing that because those are the 6, the wild polio cases, not the vaccine derived. And we don't know yet, but in 2021, all of the wild polio cases in 2021 did result in paralysis. Of course, with just having 3 reported this week, we don't know yet what that outcome looks like for those people. So the most recent onset of paralysis was actually in May, but it's likely that these will all end up being paralysis cases as well, just too soon to tell for sure. If you notice, who read your newsletter for this week? That's good because you didn't get one. That was not a mistake. Jill was not feeling well. I didn't ask Susie to step in. So we will have weekly newsletters starting back up, but I did give Jill a pass since she had strep and COVID. I figured we could let her have 1 week off this year.
Hey, Christy.
Yeah.
The mouse is right on your face.
Should I get it where it looks like it's picking my nose or?
For everybody off.
Thanks, Brent. Another thing that we have discussed is potentially meeting somewhere else for at least the summer for the Thursday evening meeting, because we thought that maybe it would be easier to get people outdoors out to a different venue during the summer. So if you guys have suggestions or would be interested in attending if we did it somewhere else, please let us know. We've talked about a few different places, but we don't have anything set yet. So it's something we're just kind of exploring if the same location works, or if the same location works except for during the summer when it's hard to convince people not to go to Music on the Avenue and to come see us instead. So we're open to suggestions. Then Boo Bash did Julie want to come make an announcement? Julie's actually going to put in her application as an understudy for Calendar Girls. So just in case they need her.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. So on your tables is a Boo Bash, probably the first that you're seeing it again this year. As you'll recall, it is our #1 Rotary Club of Clinton fundraiser. So Carrie Denaire and I are somehow got roped into, no, that's not the right word. We voluntold and we were excited to do it though, because it is a great event and we are very excited to get together and keep going on this. So far, Cheryl Fry has helped us, Paul, Jill online, Dale and others I'm sure I'm missing here have already kind of joined our group, and we're extending that net out as we go along. So our #1 initiative that we're trying to do, so you might have heard that we have a net 40,000 goal, which is quite ambitious, especially as our economy starts to get a little bit dicey, but we sure appreciate everyone stepping up. This is such a great group. Everyone I know from seeing the past sponsorships, the past auction items, so many of you step up and go well beyond really what is even required of you as far as a Rotarian. But if you receive something in the mail, please feel free to fill it out with what you have done before in the past, or even challenge yourself up this year to a new level, to a higher level. You'll notice that this year we have a $5,000 sponsorship level, and that is something that we have not filled in quite a few years. So it comes with your own free table, private table waiter. So between Carrie and I, we're going to flip a coin to see who gets to do that. But do think about it this year. That's really an honor for your company to be a $5,000 sponsorship level, and something that would be a nice publicity for you to have. Otherwise, auction, silent auction, things like that, we'll be reaching out to you as we go along. So save the date for Friday, October 28th.
Thank you, Julie. Cheryl, did you want to come up for an announcement? That's what I was thinking.
I just have a couple things. As you've noticed, Sue, our secretary, is not here. That's Andrew. But her mother did pass away. I had a card. I don't know if everybody signed it. It was a little late with it. So if you didn't, I guess I'll pass it around if you want to sign it. And the other thing is, as the community, I don't know what they call me anyway on the board, but I really want to thank Rich Kahn for heading up Josh the Otter. I did some calling to get numbers, and people are, the teachers, the counselors are all really excited about that program. They really like it. And Rich, you did a great job, and everyone else that helped. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, are there any other announcements from the floor? Well, Dale is getting excited, but I'm not gonna let him come up yet. We're gonna do the Paul Harris Fellow induction next. If Andy wants to come up.
You want me to bring everybody up?
Yes.
All right. So if you remember a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Paul Harris points, and we solicited to have those of you that have shareable points to use those points to get more of our members into Paul Harris fellow category, which is helpful to our club because grants and stuff that come from the mothership are directly related to or have some correlation to that Paul Harris Fellowship. So through the donations of those transferable points, we have 21 people that have moved into the Paul Harris Fellow that we'd like to recognize. So if you're here and I read your name, come up and get your certificate and your pin. 21 people. It's crazy, right?
Okay.
I don't think everybody's here either. I don't know for sure though. Okay. So let's start with this. Rotary started with the vision of one man, Paul Harris. After setting up his law practice in Chicago, Harris gathered several business associates to discuss the idea of forming an organization for local professionals. He envisioned a place where professionals of diverse backgrounds could exchange ideas and form meaningful, lifelong friendships. On 23 February 1905, Harris, Gustav Lohr, Sylvester Schleel, and Hiram Shorey gathered at Lohr's office in room 711 of the Unity Building in downtown Chicago. This was the first Rotary Club meeting. In February 1907, Harris was elected the third president of the Rotary Club of Chicago, a position he held until the fall of 1908. Toward the end of his club presidency, Harris worked to expand Rotary beyond Chicago. Some club members resisted, not wanting to take on an additional financial burden, but Harris persisted, and by 1910, Rotary had expanded to several other major U.S. cities. Harris's death in 1947 prompted an outpouring of contributions from around the world, and his name continues to evoke the passion and support of Rotarians and friends of Rotary. Continuing the legacy of our founder, the Paul Harris Fellow Program recognizes individuals who contribute or who have contributions made in their name of $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International. The purpose of the Paul Harris Society is to honor and thank individuals for their generous support to the Rotary Foundation. Today, we recognize the following people as Paul Harris Fellows, and thank you all, and thank them for all that they do for the Rotary Foundation. So the following people are Paul Harris Fellows. We had one person who became a Paul Harris Fellow +1, which means that her contribution has gone above and beyond just the 1,000, and it's up to level 1, and that's Christy. Christy got Paul Harris +1, so she gets her own round of applause. Everybody else moved into the Paul Harris Fellows. So that is Brent Albrechtson is a Paul Harris Fellow. Amy Berentis. You know if people are. There you go, buddy.
Thanks, sir.
I'm sure there'll be a picture later.
Yeah, stay up here.
Stay up here. There's 21 people. Brent Brightman.
Seemed like the
Maybe
easiest
we
time
take
to
the
do a
pictures.
picture.
Oh, well, maybe.
Corralling 21 people a second time seems.
Stand over there by that wall. So you're not in the way.
Not a St. Valentine's Day massacre or anything
Here,
like
Brent.
that.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Carrie Donaire. Julie Dunn. Me.
Put it in.
Yeah, no. Catherine Forrest. Sam Jensen. Thanks, Catherine. I don't think so. Bill Greenwald. I don't think he's here. Ron Gutierrez. Nope. Doug Harridge. I don't see Doug either. It's like the only time he's not here. Andrew Kidda. There you go, buddy. Sir. Susan's not here. Teresa Nielsen. Thank you. Braden. Oh, he's here. Thanks, buddy. David Rose. Oh, no, he's here. Sorry, I was looking for you.
Handed it to the wrong guy.
Thank you.
Get over
Mark. Paula Schneckloff. Andy Sokolovich, let's see, Andy. And Elizabeth Serp. Sue Watkins. All right. Here, Sue, I'll bring it to you because I got to use a picture too. That picture's gonna be real wide.
No, you're getting better to the front.
Thank you, sir. We'll get these to those individuals next time we see them. Okay, I'm leaving you this.
We probably should have called up Judge Sivright since he got gypped on his induction speech because I had to wing it.
We did it.
But we did it. We did it. We just did it without an actual piece of paper. And I know that I probably don't have to explain this, but I just wanted to explain how I ended up to the +1. So Ryan Veenstra had actually donated his points to me to get me up over to the 1,000, and then the Changemaker President Award that I tried not to share with all of you. Kidding. That they actually gave me 1,000 points for doing that as well. So that was how I ended up getting over that hump. So thank you all for everything. Now I'll finally turn it over to Dale for fellowship.
Make like a tree and leave. Good afternoon. I'm going to make this brief because I have a very important speaker waiting online. First of all, though, I would like to announce some June birthdays. Gary Foster on June 3rd, Lynn McGraw was June 5th, and Paula Schnickloff Stewart, her new maiden name, her married name, June 6th. Steve Howes, June 11th, Shannon, June 21st, and Brian Wright, June 23rd. So happy birthday to all and have a great year. June anniversaries, Mark Rutenbeck, 33 years, Carrie Denaire, 9 years on June 17th, and David Pillars, 10 years on June 25th. Now for fellowship, on your way out, if you want to donate, please donate for their scholarships. But I'd like to introduce Jayne Armstrong, who is the SBA District Director for Iowa. She has a very interesting resume, which I'm going to have published in the newsletter. Jill, if you're there. You will get this information for that. And Jayne, and for the time, I would like to have you go ahead and present.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Thank you so much for having me. Are we able to pull up the PowerPoint?
We're working on
I
getting that
apologize.
so that everybody can see it.
Okay, great, thank you. I'm so sorry I can't be there today. As some of you know, I tested positive for COVID yesterday. So actually, a lot of SBA is falling down today because we had a SBA management meeting in Houston last week, and a lot of us are testing positive. So one by one, where all the district directors are going down today. So apologize I couldn't make the trip. Thank you so much for arranging for me to be able to do this. we aren't I just want to say this up front. We aren't able to initiate Zoom on our end for security protocols in the federal government. So sometimes I have problems with Zoom, and I am having problems today. I do have a backup on my phone ready to go. If for any reason I drop off, I will jump back on my cell phone. I want to also introduce a colleague of mine who's on the call too, is Lori Day, who is an entrepreneur in residence, if you will, with us. She has been temporarily working with us for a couple years during the pandemic. A business owner who has joined the SBA to help us through get through the pandemic. And Lori is a fellow Rotarian with the Des Moines AM Club. And I just wanted to say too, I've been actually a Rotarian for 34 years in a number of different states. But prior to coming to on my SBA career side, I've been with the SBA for a number of years now, but I started on the public policy side, organizing the White House Conference on Small Business. And then I've been the SBA director in West Virginia, Delaware, Virginia, and now in Iowa for 7 years. So I'm sorry that I can't be there. I am missing the food at Restrelli's. So please enjoy on my behalf. But I wanted to update everybody a little bit about what's been going on at the SBA. We have been very, very busy. The last 2 years, we were asked to spearhead the economic recovery at the federal level and have been extremely, extremely busy while doing a lot of other things too. So I wanted to update you a little bit. And I'm sorry that I'm going to have to ask someone to advance the slides since I can't control the Zoom. But at the SBA, of course, we're a member of the President's Cabinet, the smallest agency in the cabinet, but a very important one. And so we were tasked, we were given about 7 different programs to help small businesses and nonprofits get through usually when we have economic crises, we've historically have built out a lot of different specific industries over time. But this is the first time that there's the small business community. And I think that if anything positive has come out of the pandemic, it is that, can everybody hear me okay? Okay. If anything positive has come out of the pandemic, it's that America has finally woken up to how important small business is to the American economy, and something that we've all known for a very, very long time. So during the pandemic, we were tasked with running a lot of different programs. And we ultimately ended up putting out $16 billion in economic relief just in Iowa alone through our programs. And so Paycheck Protection Program, I want to, if you go ahead to the next slide, the Paycheck Protection Program, I really want to thank all the banks and the credit unions that are in the room. Thank you so much for your partnership. You actually ran the programs for the SBA, and we just can't thank you enough for the collaboration with that, and your support of the small business community and your small business clients. Behind every PPP loan, and we ended up doing almost 174,000 in Iowa between the 2 programs, or the two stages of it. And behind every, just to let you know what was going on with us at the SBA, in the early days of the PPP, I can tell you that a lot of us were working 20-hour days, 7 days a week. just trying to answer emails and the phone calls, and it was around the clock. It was nonstop. And we had 5 people at the SBA. So we were very, very busy during that time period. And behind every PPP is a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls all across the state. So, but I do want to thank all the lenders that stepped up and really saved the small business community through that program. If you go to the next slide. We also had a couple other programs too. Economic injury disaster loans, that number is not up to date. It's we through the COVID EIDL program just finished a couple weeks ago, and that number is probably closer to 3 billion in Iowa now, with the final stages and the increases that we were able to get through. We also had some different grant programs based on the geographic location of the businesses, trying to help with low-income communities and businesses located in those areas, as well as businesses that were particularly hard hit and had greater losses. So we had a number of different grant stages under the EIDL program that we did a lot with.
Did you break her? Jayne, you look like you're frozen.
You type something in the chat.
Oh, she's gone.
Yeah, she's not.
She said if she disconnected, she had a backup.
Send her an email.
Yeah, price. Sit next to Shirley. All he's doing.
Can you hear me okay? I'm good. I'm just, I'm going on to my personal phone here and just dropping the SBA connection. So I apologize on that. The FBI doesn't like the federal agencies using Zoom, and sometimes our connections aren't good. So I apologize about that.
That's okay.
So if you go back a slide or two, or I'll just do this real quick. Yeah, this is good. The next one after that is the, so then our shuttered venue program was for performing arts theaters, comedy clubs, movie theaters. A lot of different venues across the states got grants and then supplemental grants through that program. And the thinking was that, you know, the arts really drove a lot of the small business community, especially with the restaurants and the lodging and the shopping in those areas. So just keeping those venues alive was very, very important. And then we had the Restaurant Revitalization Fund program, which you may not have heard that much about, because what happened is that we were given a smaller amount of money from Congress for that program with the
Jane, are you still there?
Yeah. It isn't too hard to understand why we have inflation.
Oh, she's gone again.
I don't understand it. Like supply is responding, demand is.
Dale has offered to dance instead if you guys want.
Take me out the dog.
Try to get more dollar bills for scholarships. Deal? Get your dollar bills.
And I know the, you know, beaches and swimming pools.
Yeah. Used to be covered job.
Well, while we're waiting for Jane to come back, I don't think that our guests got introduced today. So I don't know if you really count Steve as a guest or as under the corporate membership, but we have people here from Citizens First Bank Day, so they have a corporate membership, so they get to swap their people out. So we do have Steve Clements and Dylan Byrne here today. So thanks for joining us. We also have Carlene Albrechtson, who is Brent's wife, and yes, we did give her an application. So, and then
I'm
we have
back.
Lori Day online. Oh, and Jane, you're back?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the internet today that we're having all. I'll try to get through a little bit more if that's okay. And
Yep.
I guess
We'll get back to you.
COVID's to my problems. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, you guys. So Restaurant Revitalization Fund, they had to shut down the program.
Jane, are you? All right.
Maybe we try to
Dance?
want to dance.
It's not her either. Lori, are you gonna jump in?
Well, my internet is cutting in and out too this morning. I don't know why it does that once in a while. So I can try for the next couple of minutes, or maybe you're just going to want to reschedule Jayne. I can't, mine isn't reliable either right this minute. What
Well,
would you
that's
like to
fine.
do?
Well, we don't want to put you on the spot either. We'll leave it up to you.
So if we hit the highlights, one of the things on the screen is the SBA debt relief. And a lot of times a lot of attention was not focused on something that was kind of happening behind the scenes for small businesses. Many small businesses had a loan already with the SBA that was totally pre-pandemic. And so those business owners had up to 6 months of relief of that debt. They didn't have to make a payment for that SBA loan, and it didn't collect at the end either. So that too helps for relief for those businesses and took some pressure off to help them go forward. And I mean, I think I'm in a temporary position with the SBA, and one of the things I like to share with people is how this office for Iowa has 5 full-time permanent people that are working literally during the pandemic. They were working 20-hour days for weeks and weeks and weeks to take care of small business and working with lenders and the business owners themselves. So there was a shuttered venues grant. Oh, you're back.
Jayne, I think you've got your audio.
And I think we can move to the next slide.
Do you want me to try again now?
Jayne, my internet's cutting in and out this morning too. So I don't know, I extended the offer if they wanted to have SBA continue or to reschedule to another date.
Let me just go through a couple slides and just finish. But so while, and just thank you, everybody. Want to especially thank the small businesses. You know, at the SBA, it's a very special place. That's the reason why I've stayed all these years, because we have a truly believe in small businesses and their work ethic and their vision. And it was really hard during the pandemic. I will share this, that we take it very personal because we know who we work for. And when we were working those 20-hour days, I went to bed a lot of the early nights in the first few months, crying myself to sleep most nights, because I was worried we weren't going to help to save a lot of small businesses. The situation was that dire with the economy. So I just want to thank you for your for the small businesses, for everything that you do, for your inspiration. And people recognize the impact that you have every day on this economy. And I want to thank everybody who collaborated with us to help to support small business. We're not through this yet, of course. Obviously, with inflation and rising costs and some challenges that we're seeing right now, it's making it very hard for a lot of small businesses. But I'm very proud to work for an agency that that is making a difference and helping, that knows is doing something very valuable and very noble, and that's working for small business owners. So I just want to we're time now, but just wanted to share those important slides about what happened the last couple years, and we're continuing on. We're still doing our day jobs with the running our other programs. And one of the important things that we're doing right now is we're also recognizing where there were a lot of gaps in the during the economic recovery process, and a lot of businesses that weren't able to access a lot of the programs because they didn't, as much as we emphasize the importance of having a banking relationship, many businesses did not have it. And so we're trying to break down some of those barriers and build those relationships so that we are, especially working with some immigrant communities, that there may have been some barriers. So I'll just leave it at that. And if we have any for filling in.
Well, thank you, Jayne. And I don't know with connection, does anybody want to come up and ask a question? I know Dale's going to email you with some options for rescheduling, or maybe we could have you here in person and not have to worry about the technology.
Yeah, I sincerely apologize. It turns out that Zoom was more my downfall than COVID today. So thank you for your patience with us. And we are fellow Rotarians, so I know it's beneficial to all concerned.
Well, thank you, Jayne, and Lori too for stepping in. So each week our club donates a book to the Children's Department of the Clinton Public Library. So we're going to donate Stand in My Shoes on your behalf. We'll have Dale write your names in there since you're not here to actually sign it, and then we'll get it over to the library. So
thank you so much. And thanks for your patience and your resilience today.
well, thank you. And thank you for still jumping on. I know, you know, it seems like you're feeling pretty good. So we're thankful for that. But I know that it's difficult when you're trying to rearrange that quickly. So we certainly appreciate that. So thank you, Jayne and Lori, for both joining us today and for speaking. And Dale, thank you for arranging for this and for taking care of getting them switched over last minute. And thank you, Carrie, looks like she took off for doing invocation, Paul for greeting. Thank you to our guests, of course, Jayne and Lori and Carlene and Steve and Brian. Dylan, I'm sorry, Byrne, got the last name. Hey, it was pretty good for memory for guests. I don't think I missed anybody. So, but thank you all for everything. I hope I didn't miss anybody else with anything, but with that, serve to change lives.
Yes, me too. Get out there and get the week done.